Okay, in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and answer the questions that I've gotten so far on 3 questions from the first day of the AP Classroom Multiple Choice Problems. The questions that were asked were on numbers 7, 10, and 15. Those are the ones that I'm going to go over in this video. However, if you haven't gotten to the multiple choice problems yet and other questions arise, I can always come back and revisit them. So in this first problem that we see, part of the reason why I chose this problem is because it has 2 different types of if statements, and I see this all the time in the code that you guys write, which is why I loved this problem. So one of the things that we talked about is when you use an if, else, these 3 choices, you choose option A, B, or C. It's one or the other or the last. It is not all of the above. You cannot choose one and then choose another. You only get one of those 3 choices. They are all connected. Now, if we compare this to what we see in code choice B, the difference here is that we have an if statement, and then we have another one, which is an if else. And those are 2 separate statements. So let's take a look at what happens here. Now, if we look at this first if statement, we essentially have the difference of whether or not the value is greater than 10 or less than 5. So if we were to run this with some different choices, let's just say, for example, we started with a number that was bigger than 10. And let's say for the example that we're looking at here, choice was equal to 20. So if choice were equal to 20, then in code segment A, we would print blue and we'd be done with it. These 2 choices would never execute. We would skip right on down to here to whatever line of code came after it. Now, if we look at the code segment B and choice is greater than 10, we would come here and we would go ahead and we would print blue. And then now when we get to this next code block, because this code block is completely separate from this code block, we would execute either the if or the else. So we would ask ourselves, is choice less than 5? No, it's not. So we would go into the else, and here we would print yellow. So when we see ourselves in a scenario where our value is greater than 10, what's going to happen is that in this second choice in code segment B, not only would blue print, but also yellow would print. Now, if we were to have a value of choice equal to 10, or if choice was less than 10, we wouldn't notice this occurring. We only notice this when choice is greater than 10. And so that is why the correct answer for problem number 7 is C. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 10. So question number 10 is another one that I love. And part of what I love about this question is it gets at what I have called short circuit evaluation. And short circuit evaluation is essentially how the computer is going to be efficient. The example that I gave in class was, let's say you were going shopping for a suit for homecoming or prom, and you try on the pants, and the pants are 4 inches too short. Well, if the jacket and the pants go together and the pants don't fit, you don't try on the jacket. It's a done deal. You don't buy it, okay? On the other hand, let's say you are somebody who has 2 feet that are the same size, and you try on a pair of shoes and the left shoe fits. Okay, you're good. You buy the shoes. There's no need to try on both the left and the right shoe. So with short circuit evaluation, if we are working with an or, if the first one is true, it doesn't matter what comes next. The automatic answer is true. Okay, the computer says, okay, well, with an or statement, I only need one of these to be true. So if the first one is true, I can just jump the gun and say, we're good, it's true. Now, on the other hand, if we're working with false and the first value if we're working with an and statement and the first statement happens to be false. Well, if the first statement is false, we know with an and statement that both statements have to be true. So if the first one is false, there is no point even bothering checking what the last one is. So this one is automatically going to be a false statement. So essentially what short circuit evaluation says is when we are working with an OR, if the first argument is true, the answer is true. The second one isn't even checked. When we are working with an AND, if the first argument is false, we don't even bother checking the second one. The answer is automatically false. So when we look at this code segment here, we look first of all at this first part, and all of this code is connected into this if. And here we see this scenario of short circuiting with an AND. So because we see a false AND, I don't even care what comes after it. All of this is totally irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The computer automatically says, hey, you're false. Okay? And since all of that is false, and since all of this code is inside of what was false, it all gets skipped. We don't even check it. Okay? Boom. Move on. So now I get on down to this next guy. And with this next guy, I have true or. Well, the computer says, oh, well, the first part's true. I don't even care what comes after it. It doesn't even matter. This is automatically going to be true. So I will go ahead and print true. And that is why the correct answer to this problem is C. So short circuit evaluation is essentially the computer's way of being efficient. All right, so our last problem, problem 15, this is actually a problem that we saw back in Unit 7 when we were doing our sorting and searching problems. I threw this same exact AP problem on one of our review worksheets. So I'm going to go through this one in case you had a question on it. Now, first of all, I apologize that the quality of some of these images on AP Classroom is pretty crappy, if I'm being honest. It's like they took a screenshot of a bad screenshot and you're getting really poor, degraded images. And there's nothing I can do about that. However, if we look at what's going on here, we have the class called time record. And within here, we have two variables, hours and minutes. And we have the declaration that minutes has to be between 0 and 60. And notice that it's less than 60, meaning that if we ever happen to have 60 or more minutes, well, we know logically that we should now increase that up to be another hour. And so we're telling you that the way that these variables are declared, our code needs to obey that rule. So we have here our constructor, and then we have our two getter methods. And then we go ahead and we have this method here, which is going to advance the time. And that is the one where the code is not shown. So let's think about this, for example. Let's just say we happen to have a time record, and let's say hours was equal to 1 and minutes was equal to 40. And then, and let's just say this was called, time t. And then somebody said t dot advance. And sorry, my handwriting isn't the greatest. And they said that we wanted to advance this time by 2 hours and, we'll say 2 hours and 45 minutes. Goodness gracious, what's going on here? So 2 hours and 45 minutes. All right, so now if we think about this logically, we know that I'm going to go ahead and take this 1 hour and I'm going to add 2 to it. So that will give me 3 hours. And then I'm going to add 45 to my minutes, giving me 85 minutes. However, I also know that 85 minutes is more than 1 hour, so I should round up. So this really should now take 1 more hour up here, making this 4 hours, and this should actually be 25 minutes. So we need to have our code reflect that. So now we go ahead, now that we've thought through how it's going to work, you always want to think through, well, how in the world should this code actually work? Now you want to actually go to the code choices and see what they have going on here. And you're going to see a combination of this divided by 60%, 60. So let's just real quick remind you of what that means. When you divide by a number, you are going to truncate, and that means that you are going to remove any leftovers. When you do percent, that means you are only going to keep the remainder, which is essentially saying we want to keep the leftovers. All right, so if we look at this, if we think about what exactly I did, I went ahead and I said I wanted to add my hours to my hours. And then I wanted to go ahead and add my minutes to my minutes. However, if my minutes were greater than 60, I needed to also add that fractional part, and this part here was what I get when I do divide. And then my minutes were just equal to what I get when I do my percent. And so that's why when we look at our code here, if we analyze these different choices of what we see, we can see that C is going to be our correct answer. So if I were to highlight this first part, when I say +2, that is doing this hours. And then when I say this part right here, the +1, that is getting my whole number. So if let's say this problem were actually different and I were say advance 2, 15, in this case, 15 minutes would not be enough to go to another hour. So if I were to do minutes divided by 60, that would be 15 divided by 60 is 0, so it wouldn't even add anything. So this right here is kind of like what we would consider a no harm, no foul. It's only going to add this extra hour if it needs to. Now my minutes, on the other hand, my minutes code is what I see going on right here. And so that's why I see minutes percent 60, because when all is said and done, I only want the leftovers, because any whole hours, any groupings of 60 minutes already got added up here in the blue. So that's why it just says minutes percent 60. Again, if we play devil's advocate with this scenario here, with 15 minutes, 15% 60 is still 15. So if you are given a number that happens to be less than what you are dividing by, when you do the remainder, like if I had 15% 60, that is equal to 15. If I did 70% 60, that is equal to 10. So if this first number before the modulus is less than the number after the modulus, then the answer is just going to equal what that first number was. And that is why our correct answer here is C. All right. Thank you and have a good day.